Alright gang, in this video I'm going to show you a template of a case study so you can understand how to put it together. So grab that popcorn, let's dive in. I've been working on this UX case study template, and I gave my mentees a narrative here, and it says, in the beginning there was the business and a customer. The business was suffering from this dilemma. Across the sea and through the woods, the customer was also suffering from this dilemma. Yet there's more to come. In the coming words, I share with you the story and about how I came to know both the business in terms of industry and the customer in terms of empathy. Now here I'm kind of just rattling on, but I'm giving you an example of an overview, basic plot summary or abstract. Tease our audience to read on. And this is the beginning of our narrative. Example in the beginning is just showing us how to write like a story. When I came upon the problems that these two have, I first sought to understand their issues prior to jumping into solutioneering conclusions. Therein, I found the core problem for both sides, which they share. Here I'm showing that user problem and the business goal overlap. And then I'll pivot to, then I went about seeking solutions from a variety of sources. This is where we pivot to solution research, and we maybe look at competitors or a lightning demo or inspiration. Here's a picture of one of my assumptive solutions now, and showing is really powerful. Pictures are faster than words. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So, however, when I tested on 5 customers, it didn't work. It failed. And here's how. And we can actually show that failure, like we talked about in the results or the user outcome. And so I maneuvered. We had a complication, and now we pivot. We want to see the before and after. And then if you have more process, this gray portion here, I sought out more help from experts, blah, 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 blah. That section there, that could also help to add length to your case study. But the minimum case study is at least 1 user test. You should have about 3 rounds of user testing, so that would be more statistical. So what did we learn? We learned this, 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 and this. We learned what not to do and what to do. These were all the maneuvers, and we're recapping what we learned. And then we give a call to action. Click here to learn more about me. In my bio, my about page, contact me to hire me. I put the caveat here, if you're doing a design sprint, you might skip this gray area because you only had 1 test. That's okay. And the asterisks were areas where you need to provide reference in your bibliography or your appendix at the end. In the beginning here, we have the basic plot structure, and this area here is like what people normally do. They think it's about them and their process. First I did this, then I did this, then I did this. It's very monotonous, mundane, and we're going to get lost in the details, just like a textbook in high school. Whereas the awesome organized by a plot, it's going to take us through the rising action and the falling action. It's going to take us through the complications. It's a roller coaster ride, right? We start with a problem. Every good story starts with a problem. Let us have empathy for the user, etc. And we talked about that a little bit. Over here on the aside is where it's not in the story. These are the overview, the synopsis, the abstract. It's a real quick glimpse of what we're talking about. The problem, the solution, the goal, the methods or process, the duration, the tools, all of that stuff is over here. And indeed yourself, the author, and the team could be up here in the aside. Here is where we have the headline, really important. Here's the 80% read, 13% skim and scan, 3% read word for word. We have some links to the HubSpot headline writing tips and the Pirate metrics for business objectives. We have the usability metrics for our usability study, and we have the quantitative analysis. We want to start right away with addressing quantitative analytical bias of the majority of our industry. They love numbers. They think numbers don't lie. So we just want to get out there and state it and give a reference to, hey, where did we get this from? So here I say 8 out of 10 Americans suffer from this problem. Insert reference here. Now, here's your primary research. For some of us, we don't always do design thinking where we go and recruit people first and empathize with them through cognitive interviews and really listen to their pains. Sometimes we're just asked to build solutions. So you need to test as soon as possible. In that, you're going to have primary research because you're facilitating the research. You're conducting it. And you need to see, something went wrong, and so you maneuvered. We want to see that you're open to change, that you're not validating your assumptions, that you're flexible and maneuverable, that you're willing to make a change when new data is presented to you. So that's the primary research. Not only this happened, or not only did I think this, but aha, this too. And that's your primary qualitative design research. The next part is your persona. You can introduce the persona, zoom in on them and say, meet John Doe, meet Jane Doe. Here's the problem that happened in their life. This is what went wrong. They should look ugly. I've specifically chosen a wrinkled up piece of paper here because too many personas are pretty. We want to see a beat up persona, one that's used. Personas are like sawdust on the floor of a workshop. We needed a persona to define the problem. Personas have problems in them, not unicorns and rainbows. Here I have a research question that's framed as a how might we, this intended experience for Jane. So we're doing it for her, like jobs to be done. She's hiring us to do the job for her. So she feels delighted. I'm using Kano's model here for that. And so here is the template to Innovation Champions and the sprint where how might we is also referenced. Okay, then we go into secondary research. Now this is our prospective solution side, and we are getting sources of information. For example, Dr. Seuss, Dr. whoever from Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, whatever, had this proven solution, but it's just not been productized yet. So how could that inspire us? And here's our ideas and how we've narrowed that down through strategy and data to drive our decision to this final solution. And then we talk about the competitors. What are they doing that's right? What are they doing that's wrong? And how are we going to leverage what they're doing wrong and be different? What is the blind spot? Like Seth Godin says, you need to do the opposite of what they do. Efficiency versus innovation and user flow. We talked about the user flow, and the task flow is kind of like a marketing funnel or a sales funnel, but with product design, we're really focused around engagement. And so we want to know what is the innovation, what is the efficiency in the user flow. We want to know what part of the flow are you specifically focused on and what went wrong and how did you maneuver. This way we know you're not targeting the entire flow, you're only targeting a small portion of it, and that's what you'll be usability test. So then you have your button too small. We're just clearly stating button too small. That's Fitts law from the law of UX. So cross-reference your usability research on the lawsofux.com to see if there's any things that you're not obeying, any laws of science that you're disobeying. And you can talk about that in your case study to add more. Then you can show the wireframe and how you maneuvered the design system and introduce the brand. You could talk about the psychology. Oliver Eliason in Netflix Abstract Episode 1, he talks about the design of art, and he begins with this color exercise and how it affects Jane's mood in just 2 to 3 seconds. So I think that that's important for us to acknowledge in terms of our branding. And then you can actually introduce the brand as a climax, a ta-da moment, like aha, and introducing. And you can reference Hello, My Name is Awesome by Alexandria Watkins. She helps you come up with really great brand name. And then we have the falling action where we have this final hurrah and we're saying, here's everything we learned. Let's recap everything we've covered today. And then those end up being our lessons learned, 8 to 10 suffer, increased click area, blue affects their cognition, and reduce UI improves engagement. So whatever those were that you learned, recap it and show the results. Here I said 4 iterations, 20 people tested, 10 errors found, 50% net promoter score. Another might be our efficacy rates. So we would say, let me just add a row here. Let's add a row below. And let's say, 78% success rate, which is the benchmark. And we might also say, 5.5 average satisfaction. And we might also say 68 seconds task completion time, something like that. You want to give those efficacy, satisfaction, and efficiency rates so that way we know the results of your test. You could put some next steps here if you're continuing to work on this. As we are UXpreneurs, this might be a project that is ongoing. It's our side hustle. You want to mention some trade-offs and what you would have done differently as a reflection at the end. And then finally, your author card where you're like, look, I'm a UX designer specialized in this industry and I'm passionate about this or that. Click here to hire me. That is your call to action. So that is a skinny on this case study template that I've been working on over the last almost 4 years. So I hope you enjoyed. All right, gang, I hope you enjoyed that video on the case study template, and I hope that it helps you guys out. Link in the description down below. And if you like this video, click the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It keeps this channel alive. Click the bell notification to be notified of the next case study video, and I'll see you on the next one.